Grizzlies fans, welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. The Grizzlies will take on the Timberwolves for the fourth and final time, even though I said last time was the last time I was going to bug John Krawczynski to break this game down. I bugged him once more because we got another game. We're taking on the number one team in the West. John, thank you again for coming on.
Glad to be back, KJ. As you can see, I got the back-to-back hair still. I'm working on, I'm trying to get going here a little bit and get up and at it, but I'm happy to be with you. So
As he said, the Timberwolves are coming off a game yesterday. They played the Spurs 114 to 105. And we may as well just dive in right there because the Timberwolves have been so good. We know that they have the best defense in the NBA. They held the Spurs to 104. And I was looking at their offense. Actually, before we even get into offense, I know Kyle and Anthony Edwards both left at halftime, like a little bit injured. But you had said that it looks like they're gonna suit up tonight.
it seems so, Kelsey. We talked to both of them afterward. Now, Ant
Came back.
returned to the game and played, and his ankle seemed no worse for the wear, but it could feel a little bit different today as he gets to the arena. So we'll check on that. But he told us after the game that he planned on playing tonight. Kyle Anderson told me the same thing. He left with a hamstring injury, did not return, but said he felt like he should be okay. So we will see. You never know how they're going to feel the next day, and I think there's a possibility that one or both of them missed tonight, but both of them left the arena last night expecting to play tonight.
And then Kat had been day to day with personal reasons. Have you heard any?
That's right. Yeah, he actually had to attend a funeral yesterday, and Coach Chris Finch said that he expects Cat to be back today. As long as there's no travel issues or anything, I would expect him to be in the lineup tonight. So that will be a boost for a team that's a little banged up coming out off on the second night of a back-to-back.
Okay. All right. Now I can dive in. Now we've got it all out. For the Grizzlies injury report, for everyone at home, everyone who is injured is still injured, and John Conchar is questionable. He's the only in or out guy. So you're looking at John Conchar. We're gonna dive so much into the defense because that is what has gotten this team to the number one spot in the West. But I want to talk about the offense first because I looked at the game yesterday, and for a team that's so defensively strong, their offense really impressed me. 56 points in the paint, 47 bench points, including 22 from Naz Reid, who had 20 on us last time we played him. 25 fast break points. They forced 23 turnovers and then scored 30 points off of those turnovers.
Yep, they have been trying to iron out wrinkles in their offense most of the season. And right before the break, for the 10 or so games right before the All-Star break, they were really rolling. I think they were number 3 in offensive rating in that time, and I think that they were really making good decisions, not turning the ball over, which had been a problem earlier in the season for them. And it seemed like they were finding another gear. Now, coming out of the All-Star break, it's been a little sloppy, a little rusty, I think. But last night against the Spurs, you did see more of what has been working for the Timberwolves offensively in terms of moving the ball, creating offense with their defense in terms of turning turnovers into points and knocking down open shots. They are one of the best three-point shooting teams by percentage in the league. And so when they move the ball, when Anthony Edwards drives and kicks to open shooters, it's usually really good offense for them.
Let's talk about that defense though, because like I said, number one in the NBA, and that is really what has been giving them the success that they've gotten this year. The Grizzlies are coming off 2 games, and I said this before we started pressing record, where they haven't cracked 100. They scored 86 points the last game against the Brooklyn Nets. They scored 90 something points. I just spilt coffee all over my notes, so now my notes are a little shaky.
Yeah.
90 something against the Clippers beforehand. And now they're going up against one of the best, no, not the one of the best defense in the NBA. What can they do? What do you do? What do you do going up against this? You're having trouble scoring. You're without a lot of your guys who put up numbers. And now this team is really good on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad for the Grizzlies all year long. I mean, just the luck with injuries, having guys out. But when you go against the Timberwolves, you better just be able to really move the ball and then move your bodies without the ball. Like that's the one kind of antidote to what the Timberwolves can do is if you play on a string and cut and get guys going back door and make good decisions, then you might have a bit of a chance against the Wolves. The defense has been sustainable all season long, so they're going to bring it on that end. And that's going to be a long night for the Grizzlies, just in terms of trying to generate good looks and get any kind of consistent offense going. That's going to be a tough one.
I'm looking at the last time these two teams played, and that was mid-January. And like Jaren had a really big night. He had 36 points. Luke Kennard had 18, Santi 13. A couple guys had 10 and high single digits. But when you look at like consistently over time, like the big guys on the Grizzlies, who gives the Timberwolves defense the biggest fit? Is it Jaren just because of his size and he's going up against, like two big guys who don't maybe move as well as him? Is it guys like Luke who can space the floor? Like who for the Grizzlies gives this defense a little bit of a
Yeah, I think Jaren's activity offensively, and just his intensity has sometimes given the Wolves problems in general. In whenever they've played against each other, Jaren is oftentimes in foul trouble. But the last game that he played, he was not in foul trouble, and so he was hitting threes. He was really active, kind of moving around and getting Towns and Gobert to move their feet a little bit more, and that was effective. So he is so talented from just a versatility standpoint and being able to do multiple things and have like the kind of the energy to really kind of take it to the Wolves front court. Those are the kinds of players that typically give the Wolves the most problems, are the energy guys, the ones that are just going to work harder than they want to on a given night. And so if Jaren can bring that and then and knock down some shots, like that's the kind of thing that can at least put a scare into them and at least kind of cause them to make some adjustments to what they do defensively, get them scrambling a little bit. You know, the Wolves do a great job guarding the perimeter from a 3-point perspective. And so if Luke Kennard can go off, if somebody like that could get free, get loose and knock down threes and kind of open things up, that would be great. It's just not been a very replicable plan. But Jaren Jackson with that energy, I think, is the kind of player that has given the Wolves fits in the past.
Grizzlies are going to be on a little bit of this is going to be a bounce back game coming off of one of their worst outings of the season against the Nets. And when I hear you talk about these energy guys who just try really hard, the two players that come to my mind real quick, Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams Jr., coming off games where they were kind of lackluster. They're going to want to come in today. And those are the guys that if I'm the Wolves, scared is the wrong word, but if I'm the Wolves, those two guys, energy wise, effort wise, are the guys that I'm zeroing in on. Do you have you been impressed by these two young guys? I know that they're not the Jarens, the Jaws, but they've been helping the Grizzlies get all the wins that the Grizzlies have. A lot of them come to these two young guys who just are effort over everything.
Yeah, I think I've really been impressed by them. They're grinders. Like they're getting opportunities that maybe they did not expect to happen this quickly for them, and they're taking advantage of it. And I will say that that is to me the danger in a game like this tonight for the Timberwolves, because they do have a tendency to look at a roster, see a bunch of guys out on the second night of a back-to-back and maybe not be as locked in. Like, they're not playing James Harden and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard tonight. They are not playing super Giannis and Dame tonight. They are playing guys who are not as well known. And this is still a team that does show some immaturity in terms of the way it approaches some of the teams that are struggling. And so I could absolutely see a scenario where they come in tonight, maybe a little bit tired from last night, also not really thinking that they're going to be in for a fight at all. And all of a sudden, your guys are just bringing it to them a little bit and they're caught flat-footed. That has been something that has come up and bit this team before this season and particularly last season. So I'm sure the coaching staff will be trying to harp on them to be ready from the jump and bring it, because the last thing that the Wolves want to do is give Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams some belief that they can pull off an upset and win here and find themselves in a fight, later in the game.
All right. So the Grizzlies looking for a bounce back, looking to steal one on the road. The Timberwolves still chasing chasing the idea of locking in that number one spot in the West. It's going to be a good game tonight. It's at 7 p.m.